fixed assets?
Council President, there does exist a fixed asset inventory. It was cited within the audit because prior to my arrival, with the audit year, which ended June 30th, 2007, not all of the components of the fixed asset inventory, and there are several components,
Right.
were updated through the time period that was being audited.
And how is this being done? On the computer, or do we have cash books, or how is it being handled? How are you setting it up? So
Well,
that can one come in and look at what you're doing?
The existing fixed asset inventory is actually kept in a couple different components. At one time, the township had hired an outside firm to complete a fixed asset inventory, a full fixed asset inventory, including tags on all of the items. The practice for a couple years after that seemed to be to try and update that on an annual basis. That inventory was done on basically in a loose leaf binder, and there was a database format that was provided along with that, but it was not a format that could be easily used by any of the software that the township had, so it wasn't updated in electronic format. There's also a component of the fixed asset inventory which tracks just the vehicles, which is updated routinely using PCs and the purchasing system. The other components of the fixed asset inventory, encompass equipment, furnishings, and real property.
And how about land use and the land that we own as a township? Is that in there, or is that in?
That's real property. There are four required components of fixed asset inventory: real property, vehicles, equipment, and furnishings. The vehicles is updated fairly routinely. It's the other three components that weren't updated through the period in audit, and we will attempt to update those. The first thing we have to do is really put all of that information into a format, an electronic format, that will be easily updated from here forward. So that's the plan, is to convert the data and then update it and then keep it maintained.
Okay, the other question that I have about the corrective action plan is the interfund that I know at one point held lots and lots, millions of dollars. And where are we with that these days?
Interfunds are generically any amount of money that is due from one fund to another, and the township, all municipal governments within the state of New Jersey are required to use fund accounting. Every separate fund, current fund, trust funds, and there are multiple trust funds, the sewer fund, sanitation fund, animal control fund, and the list goes on. There are probably a couple dozen different funds that we maintain. Anytime one of those funds owes money to another, it's generically called an interfund. The best practice is to clear all of those interfunds prior to the close of the fiscal year. However, it's not practical, and in some cases not even possible to clear all of those, every single one. Interest that is earned on the general capital account is due to the current fund and creates an interfund, but you don't know what that interest is until you receive the bank statement after the close of the fiscal year. So there are always going to be a couple of interfunds. The year under audit, there were a good number of interfunds totaling a large amount of money. From the time I first started here, we started separating out some of those accounts. It was routinely practiced in the past to maintain a large interfund between the current fund and the state and federal grant fund. There was a large interfund between the current fund and the general capital fund. And for the most part, we've reduced those significantly. And at the close of the most previous fiscal year, June 30th, 2008, I think the amount was a reasonable amount to have, considering the size of the funds and the value of the accounts that Edison has.
Nowhere as near the 13 million that I heard the last time I asked that question.
Off the top of my head, I do not know the value of what the interfunds were.
Okay, I'll come back because I heard.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm-
Mr. Durka?
Good evening, sir. I had a question.
Name and address, please.
My name is David Durka, sir. I live at 155 Alcoa Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a question. Earlier in September, actually earlier in the summer, I took the civil service test to become a police officer. And most of the veterans returning from Iraq are endeavoring to become police officers because that's basically what we know how to do. The one thing that got me is that when I was looking down the list of civil service municipalities, Edison is not one of the civil service municipalities, they don't give veterans preference towards veterans coming home from the war. And it's like New Brunswick, they'll give veterans preference, but I have to move to New Brunswick in order just to get the preference right there. So I was wondering if Edison would at all be switching from the chief's test to a civil service municipality where veterans returning from home can get some type of preference and start to get their careers underway as police officers.
Okay. Deputy Chief, would you respond to that?
As you know, we just passed an ordinance that what we're doing is hiring PTC certified individuals, or individuals that are already PTC certified and should be on. And what we're doing is looking to hire them from other departments. They can move over, but economically they have to be PTC certified. But I'd be more than happy to get with you afterwards and, for the sake of saving time here, and address your concerns.
Just one more question, actually. I'm going to school for criminal justice, and a lot of my professors, they're all former cops, former chiefs of police, and they said that the chief's test gives a lot of preference to whoever the chief likes, rather than to actually really deserves it. And I was wondering, like, is Edison trying to phase that out, or like, because they're giving a lot of preference towards people who the chief knows and who the mayor knows, not towards just maybe a qualified individual.
I absolutely disagree with you. I can't speak for somebody that's, spoken to you on that subject, but that's absolutely inaccurate.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're off the list. First-time speakers. Mary Ann Takish.
Mary Ann Takish, Edison, New Jersey. I decided to speak about this. I've been in front of the council many years ago, but there is a Mobile Creations, or VIP Sports now they're called. When you take Plainfield Avenue, you go all the way to Woodbridge Avenue, you go right to it, you make a right and left. It's on the corner of Thomasine and Church Street. It's been many years. They are not supposed to be washing cars there. The water goes down Thomasine Street into our sewer system. I have talked to the town about it, nothing's happened. I went to the state. The state examined them and told them they had to clean up their act. And that was 1.5 years ago. They're still doing what they want. The owner's father owns a business, a used car lot, or car business in East Brunswick. So you get these big trailers coming in with 4 or 5 cars on them, parking on Thomasine. They've even parked in the post office parking lot, unloading cars for them to wash. And they also do public cars. They go in and they spray. I've seen them spraying and cleaning truck engines, big trucks. It's just all this is going down into the street. They're not recycling the water. And I just was wondering if there was anything else we could do. I'm going to write back to the state, to the gentleman who thanked me for notifying them, and tell them they haven't cleaned up their act yet.
Okay,
But this is
Mr. Kanko,
really-
are you familiar with what Ms. Takish is talking about?
This is the first I've heard of it.
Okay.
If Mary Ann can give me the exact address, I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, why don't we do that, Mary Ann? Give them the address, and
because
then
environmentally, this
this
is
is the
not
first
good.
I'm hearing of it too. So
Yeah,
Well,
well, I used to come to the other meetings, and then nobody does anything, and I've been talking to the department in the town hall, and they're not, and they also sell cars there too, and they're not supposed to be doing that. And you find 3, 4, 5 cars back, all behind one another.
yeah.
It's unbelievable, and it's really not very good for the neighborhood. It looks like a eyesore.
Right.
Thank
Okay. I appreciate your comments, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you
Mr.
for
Kankro,
appointing-
we're going to look into this.
I want to thank you for reappointing me to the
Yes, ma'am.
Environmental
Well
Commission.
deserved.